Now, for the very latest on this and for further analysis on what this means, we're now joined by Mr. Zhang Junshi. He's the Vice President of the China Naval Research Institute. Thanks very much, Mr. Zhang, for speaking with us here on the News Hour. Now, the number of countries involved in this joint military drill this year has gone up to 22, I'm told, from 14 in 2010. One significant absentee is China. What does this mean, really, in terms of the geopolitics of the region, that amongst these 22 countries in this joint naval drill, China, which is one of the largest powers in this region, is still missing?
Yes, thank you. And RIMPAC 2012 is the 23rd in its series that began in 1971. And this year's RIMPAC is the largest ever. It involves about 42 warships, 6 submarines, 200 aircraft, and 25,000 personnel from 22 countries. But China was excluded from this joint exercise hosted by the U.S. Pacific Fleet. And the absence of the Chinese PLA in this joint exercise is glaring and has made headlines in many news reports. Why? I think this indicates that China has become the potential target of the U.S. military, and China may be possibly the imaginary enemy in this exercise, because we see that the U.S. Navy has claimed in many reports that the quantity and quality of the new conventional submarines in the Asia-Pacific region is increasing and improving. But the U.S. Navy doesn't have combat experience against such targets. And in the newly published report on China's security and military development, the U.S. military singles out the China submarine threat. And in this RIMPAC exercise, 3 conventional submarines from Australia, Canada, and South Korea act as the imaginary enemy. And the U.S. warships and 3 U.S. surface warships and 3 nuclear attack submarines do the search and attack task in this exercise. So it is clear who is the imaginary enemy in this exercise.
All right, from current imaginary targets to intended targets in the past. Back in 1971, when this joint drill was initiated, Russia was one of the intended targets. After 40 long years, in fact more than 40 years, Russia has joined these drills for the very first time. The question is why? And 2, does this indicate in some way the changing geopolitics of what is an emerging multipolar world?
Yes, it is true. The Soviet Union is the intended target when the RIMPAC exercise incented in 1971. But after the collapse of the former Soviet Union, the intended target or the imaginary enemy of this exercise has changed. Maybe Russia is one of the intended targets still. But why Russia took part in this RIMPAC exercise? I think from the Russian side, maybe they want to show their military strength and capability to the world, especially to the Western world. We know that the Russian Navy is trying to revitalize its strength and is trying to restore its previous glory. In recent years, the Russian Navy has resumed long-distance air and sea patrol in the Pacific Ocean and other oceans. And there is an interesting story in the news report that saying that the United States actually doesn't want the Russians to take part in this exercise, but the Russians took the opportunity to take part in. And I think the Russians will not have the chance to take part in some sensitive items in this joint exercise, such as anti-submarine exercise, because the United States still stays high alert on the Russians.
All right, Mr. Zhang Junshi from the China Naval Research Institute, many thanks for joining us here on the News Hour.